I grew up, my dad used to take me to Pioneer Chicken, and there were 300 plus Pioneer Chickens. It was bigger than KFC in Los Angeles and California. And they had this it was orange fried chicken, and it was the crispiest, crunchiest, and most delicious fried chicken around. And it was expanding, and it was everywhere. And then all of a sudden, they were gone. And I had found out a couple years ago that there's still 2 left. And I was like, why just 2? I mean, this place was booming, it was expanding, all this kind of stuff. So I went to one. There's one, I want to say, in Bell Gardens and one in Boyle Heights. And I went, it looked the exact same as if I just stepped back into the 80s. The chicken was exactly the same. The crunch was amazing. What happened to Pioneer Chicken? It turns out that the founder / owner, during his expansion, he looked to buy a city called Blue Jay, which was near Lake Arrowhead, an entire city, and the residents weren't too happy because you don't want some. He was going to turn into a big resort town to compete with Arrowhead and Big Bear. In the meantime, he did some insidious things with his taxes, got cut up, and the FBI and the IRS cracked down on him. They did a raid on all the pioneers. And basically within like a 3-year span, he went from an expanding, growing chain to basically shutting down all the pioneers. And they ended up selling to Popeyes in the early 90s. And somehow these 2 remain, and they're exactly the same. And that's something that for me, I have a pretty acute memory of because it's something with my dad and my family. So I was like proud to see that.
You grew up with that, yeah.
And the people that are running the Pioneers are like, yo, we got to build this thing back up. So that's like cool to see because they had nothing to do with the original Pioneer, but they stay true to the recipe, true to the brand, and they have the vision for the future, which I thought was cool.